No. All right. I'm gonna trade you 2 sheep for that wood. Tell me, honey, does that sound good? 'Cause all I really wanna do is take away longest road from you, yeah. Welcome to these tabletop sessions. Welcome to these tabletop sessions. Hello, fellow gregarious geeks and gamers, and welcome to the 46th episode of the Tabletop Sessions podcast. This is your monthly dose of tabletop gaming stories and shenanigans. My name is Elias, and with me today is a man who, in his old age, would desperately like a new edition of himself. It's Ippokratic.
Hello, guys. This is Ippo.
You can hear that age in his voice, the smoky shadow of time.
The wisdom.
Yeah, sure, if you say so. Guys, sorry we missed the last episode. That was intentional. Unfortunately, I had some family issues, and I didn't play any games for about 2 months. So it was a problem. I couldn't get anything. We didn't really have anything from my side to talk about. My father had some health issues. He's getting better now. It's a slow recovery, but essentially all my time was being spent on that. So I didn't really play any games for about a month and 20 days. So we didn't have anything to talk about. But now, since then, I've had 2 game days in a row and got all sorts of stuff to talk about. So I'm excited about that. And we're back. So sorry about missing the episode last month, but we are back and ready to go.
And at the same time, I was playing twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, just for this podcast, because I know our listeners are waiting for us to provide the best reviews.
Yes, that's why we play games for you. For you, we don't like board games. We just sacrifice for you. So
exactly, it's a job now.
Yeah,
it's not like
exactly.
I used to like them, but
speaking of jobs, I wanted to tell you the story about my side job as a board game recommender for people. It was Mo's birthday recently, and Erica reached out to me like a couple weeks before, and she was like, "Hey, it's Mo's birthday. I want to buy him some games. What are some games that he would like?" So I was thinking, oh, Mo loves space stuff. He loves epic stuff. So I kind of just went with that. Hopefully, can't miss with that. So I just sent her a bunch of good recommendations for like epic space stuff. And then she's like, "Great, thank you. That's awesome." A few days later, Mo starts sending me the same games that I sent Erica. And he's saying, "What do you think about this game?" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I think Erica's thinking about buying these games for me. What do you think about them?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, they seem like good games." So basically, I was recommending to Erica. Erica was running them by Mo, and Mo was running them by me. And then eventually, that resulted in him getting 2 games from her. And then he returned one of them. Oh, my God. I feel like I'm terrible at my job.
Which one?
ISS Vanguard, which he hasn't tried. I don't know why he returned it. I feel like he would have loved it. I think he's wrong about his decision. But he kept Voidfall, so I'm excited
What is it about?
It's about like you're running the crew of a spaceship, and it's kind of like a campaign. You're going and exploring and doing things. Yeah,
I love this stuff.
Exactly, and he loves like Star Trek and stuff like that. I thought he'd love it, but anyway.
Did you recommend Space Alert?
I did not. But maybe I should have. But I was going for something more epic for him. In any case, I think he's keeping Voidfall, so I am excited to play that and report back on it when I go down to visit him. So
baby.
Yeah.
And talking about recommendations, my friend here, she listened to our episode about On Mars, and she listened to you praising kind of Kanban. Actually, you said you didn't really like On Mars, but Kanban was really better. And then she thought, okay, if I really love On Mars and Kanban is really better, I have to have this game. So she ordered it. So now you're recommending
I feel like that's a problem
to our listeners.
I don't know that the person who likes On Mars is going to find more of what they enjoy in Kanban. They're very different games. In any case, it's a very solid game, right? They both are. I don't particularly love any of Vital Lacerda's games, but I hope she finds something in there. For sure there is a puzzle in there that is worth exploring, and it's perhaps a better puzzle, I think, than On Mars. We'll talk about it later. But like On Mars still has a little more like thematic sci-fi stuff to it than Kanban is making.
What if we break the format of this episode and talk about it now? What do you think? Like, I was gonna say I played On Mars like 3 times.
Excellent. Let's talk about it.
And basically, as you said, it's a very complicated game, but all Vital Lacerda's games are very complicated. So the question every time I play one of Vital Lacerda's games is, why it has to be so complicated? Does it provide anything to the experience?
I think the people that like his games like it because of that, right? Like, it gives you a complex enough system that you feel like there are different things you can tweak and move around. But at the same time, the reason I don't like it is it feels very constricting around you. I like being in a system of like dozens and hundreds of rules around me that I can tweak and pull and see what happens when I turn this on. But in Vital Lacerda, I feel like it's very tight. It's like we're being cramped by the rules almost.
I know what you mean. It's not like a sandbox. It's like
Yes.
There is a mechanism, and in order to do A, I need first to do B, C, D, and E.
That's correct. Exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a sandbox, but that's in a tunnel. That's kind of.
At the same time, I would say it is complicated, but it's not like like a war game complicated where you have like a ton of rules.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of interconnectivity, which I guess it's a good thing because you can use multiple paths to go to your goal.
Yeah.
And
certainly, I think people that don't play war games consider his games to be some of the heaviest, but like I would never say that On Mars is. So if I'm looking at BGG, it's weighted 4.67, right? And I'm looking at Virgin Queen, and that's rated 4.44. There is no universe created, not created, to be created, or has been created and ended in which Virgin Queen is less complex than On Mars. Like On Mars would be, 10% of the complexity of Virgin Queen, but at the same time, it depends on who plays it. So I think you tend to see like Vital Lacerda, the people that like him are like, this is the absolute highest end of complexity. I absolutely love it. But they never sort of fell into the war game sector and things like that. So yeah, I understand it. Different people play these games. As a person who plays both, I don't find them that complicated, but for a Euro game, there's a lot of little rules and tons of interconnectivity. I think the hardest part of his games are figuring out where to start learning them from or teaching them from, because there's no clear starting point, right? Like there's no, well, you place your worker because, say, for example, on Mars, well, your worker might be in space or they might be on Mars. So depending on where they are, you have so like, well, how do they get there? Well, by doing this action. Yeah, but then how do we do the action? By playing them from the place where they were. Then it gets complicated. So
specifically on Mars, I would suggest to start teaching the game to someone saying, okay, we need to make a colony on Mars. The first thing you need to do, I mean, that's arbitrarily, it's my idea. You need to make a mine and start making some minerals that you're going to use later to make energy and then...
But you're not teaching them how to play the game. You're teaching them strategy. Like, you're teaching them, like, this is how to get something done. But like, if you're trying to get the rules out, that's not the rules of the game. Like, you don't have to start by building a mine. Like, that's not required.
If you start by just telling them the rules, they will be frightened and they will leave the house, and you're never gonna play the game. Which is what Vicky did to me, and then I was thinking, okay, I have no idea what to do. But now, I played this game 3 times. In the second game, I had the strategy, and I said, okay, my first move is to build a mine. And Vicky said, no, you don't have the blueprint. And I'm like, so I spent one whole game trying to understand what's going on, and then I come up with a strategy that is not valid in the second game. So I needed 3 games in order to start actually enjoying the game, because then I knew what to do, and
I can relate for sure. Yeah,
I could get the fun.
Certainly, in my first playthrough of it, I kept doing things, and then Chang would be like, "Well, you can't." Like, I'd be like, "Well, I'm gonna do this," and he's like, "But you don't have this," and I was like, "Oh, like, all right."
Exactly. It happened so many times. What you said.
Yeah, and that's how his games are. Like with Kanban, if I remember correctly, everything was kind of tied in together. All the different modules were tied in together. So you want to do something, and they're like, "Well, no, you can't because you haven't done this." And then you don't know what you have to do because the goals are like secret cards. In Kanban, I played it, and I didn't really know where my points were coming from, or like, I thought I was doing something of value, but it turns out it wasn't worth any points. You know what I mean? And it was very obtuse, not obtuse, like hard to see through. It was opaque. That's the word I'm looking for. It was very opaque.
It's the opposite of intuitive, I would say. Opposite of
That's a good description of it. But yeah, so what are your thoughts? Because we've talked about On Mars recently. There's no need to go through the gameplay, but essentially you're building a colony on Mars, and it's a sort of a shared space. You're all building different modules, going around collecting minerals, researching, finding things. It's got worker placement aspects, tile placement aspects. But what I would like to know from you is your thoughts on the game.
So my thoughts about this game is that it's an excellent game, but that doesn't really say anything alone.
Correct.
So basically, I think it's an investment. You need to invest time, and it's one of the games. I wouldn't say it was very long. I think it was like 3.5 hours, something like that, with 4 players.
Sounds right.
And because of the complexity of the game, you need to invest and play 1, 2, 3 times. It was for me. For other people, it's like Vicky was enjoying it from the first time, I guess. In order to get a grasp of the game and start really enjoying the different paths that offers to you in order to score points and do different things. There's so many things you can do in this game, and there's so much interconnectivity with other mechanisms and other players, and you can do all this stuff, but because of the complexity of the game, it's very hard to find a group of people that are really invested for the same amount of time, days.
Do you think so?
Whatever it's needed.
I disagree with you.
I mean,
I'm going to push back.
On...
Yeah, like I think Vital Lacerda games get played a lot in general, and also, at least in the groups I've seen, and on Mars more than any other. But what I want to tell you is all his games tend to be short. Like I remember Kanban, we used to joke it was 2 hours to teach, 1 hour to play. Like that was the joke that we had. But I don't know. I feel like you can get On Mars played quite a bit. The fact that it isn't too long, it's not like a war game. It's not like a half a day. Like you can play it in a game night pretty easily. I don't feel like you need people to really commit to it. And even if I'm not great at the game on my first play or second play, like I'm okay. I can play. Like I'm doing. It's not like I'm completely in the blind, and I'm not ruining the game for you, like say you would in Puerto Rico or something like that. It's still something you can enjoy. So you don't need people to commit half their lives to the game.
Okay, let me clarify. It's basically a huge investment also to teach the game. Because if you have a new player, that's like what, 1 hour, half an hour of the...
For us, we all just watched a video on it before we came, and
Because you are dedicated.
it got us like 90% of the way there. And I think, yeah,
this is the way.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. Because you're going to have a million questions when you're playing. So rather than have a teaching time, if everyone watches the video, you cut out some of that teaching time, and then they can ask the questions as they start playing. So you can have like a rolling start. I don't think you need a huge commitment of time or people. I think it's fine. And you know, I think we were describing it earlier. I said it was kind of like a tunnel, and that's really my only complaint about his games, and it applies to all of them. I just feel so constricted. I know there are multiple paths you can take, but so many things you can't do without doing, as you said, A, B, and C before doing D. And so that feels constricting. It feels like, well, that's, you know, if I want to do this, I must do these three things. And it feels tight. It feels like I can't pivot. I can't, you know, and that's just kind of how I feel about it. But I certainly see why people like his games, and I'm always down to play his games, by the way. I'm not, it's just not a thing that like I feel like I want to have or want to put on my favorites or, you know, show to other people.
I think what you're describing, this tightness of the design, supposed to be part of the joy, let's say, because, you know, you have these dilemmas where you are going to get a blueprint and you're thinking, but if I get first this token, this will allow me to get 3 blueprints instead of 1.
Yes.
But then I will delay my evolution. So does it worth it to do that? Just to get 3 blueprints and be behind everybody else, but then I will have a huge boost to my production. So you have these little puzzles, I guess, in every turn.
That's true.
So that's the good thing about his design.
And I'd say that on Mars is more approachable than Kanban. But that being said, I played the Stronghold version of Kanban. I know they've since made Kanban EV, which with tools like graphic design and sort of streamlining, I think might be a little bit easier to absorb. So maybe the new version is a little bit easier to absorb, and these are just sort of equal weights or something. But I found, like, at least on Mars, it made rational sense because I understood worker placement, right? So just by understanding worker placement, I at least understood that I send a person somewhere to do something. With Kanban, I still don't know what the mechanism is, and I played it several times just because it has such a different and strange structure to it.
And it doesn't really give you the theme, like coming out from the mechanisms of the game. So you don't really feel that you're colonizing Mars and you're doing something like that.
Well, yeah, none of his games really.
I would say that, I mean, Kanban, it kind of feels like working in a factory and doing stuff, maybe, because of the lady that is coming and checking on you. But on Mars, I was thinking even Terraforming Mars, which is a game that I don't really like, it feels more like being on Mars and doing stuff.
I agree.
Than this.
I agree.
But that's a minor thing for me. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't care at all about that. But yeah.
But if people want to play a sci-fi game, that's not it, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, if people want to play a Vita Lacerda game, you can recommend On Mars. If they want to play a sci-fi game, there's about a million other choices that are more sci-fi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I want to say that I've watched one episode of Shut Up and Sit Down, and they were recommending Vinhos as the best Vita Lacerda game, which I have not played.
Neither have I.
And now I'm very interested in playing it. And actually, the guy said that he doesn't like any of Vita Lacerda's game except Vinhos, so that made me even more interested in playing it.
I want to try that one, and I want to try the Gallerist. Those two are...
I have played the Gallerist solo in Tabletopia, and yeah, it didn't... It's a classic Vita Lacerda. I don't know. Yeah, I cannot recommend it.
My favorite Vita Lacerda game wasn't designed by Vita Lacerda, but it feels like a Vita Lacerda game. That was Madeira. Do you remember?
Madeira.
Not Vita
Madeira?
Lacerda, but it feels a little bit like a Vita Lacerda game. Don't you think?
You think so? Interesting. And Nippon.
No, Nippon didn't feel anything like Vita Lacerda.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I like Madeira a lot, so that's strange.
I like Nippon a lot. Yeah.
I need to revisit these games.
All right.
Anyway,
that's good.
I don't have anything else to say about On Mars. I think it's recommended by me to people that like complex games. But again, don't expect anything easy or anything like Terraforming Mars or anything like sci-fi. No, it's a complicated, heavy game that you might love or hate.
Yes. Very good description of it. And I second almost everything you said. So great thing to recommend. It also looks kind of cool if that matters to you, but all these newer like Ian O'Toole, Vita Lacerda combos, they have good looks to them for sure.
It's beautiful.
But it's a big old box as well. All his games have big old boxes.
Oh, yeah. And if you want to ship it to Qatar, then it's a shit ton of money. Because it's heavy and big.
On that topic of games that are have bigger boxes than they need to, I recently played Modern Art, which is by Rainer Knizia, originally designed 1992. But this is the new version, which came out, from what I can tell, around 2017, which is the CMON version with the updated art and components and stuff. And the new version just looks absolutely lovely to say. Go ahead.
When was out the new version?
I think 2017 was when it came out.
Okay, because I was confused by your introduction. I have played Modern Art, and it was a small box.
That's right. So the original version is like a small box because all you really need are cards and money tokens. But the newer version is all sorts of things. Like it has a what are they called? The thing that you put the paintings on.
Not the canvas. Yeah.
No. The thing you put the canvas on.
The one you put on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember what they're called. So yeah, it has one of those.
I don't even know it in Greek.
A canvas stand. It has a canvas stand. So it has one of those for you to put the card on for display. It has a gavel and a hammer. So like you take the hammer and you can knock on it when you're selling the auction. So silly things that don't need to be there, but they're there.
Sorry. What is it made from the stand?
Wood.
Is it wood or?
It's wood.
Wood.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right.
It makes sense now.
So yeah, it has lovely components, but the box is a lot bigger than I was expecting. Not a criticism, by the way. I'm just randomly saying that. So you played the original version, you've played Modern Art, okay?
Yeah.
I think I've now played all his famous auction games: Ra, Modern Art, High Society, and Medici. So I'm happy to. I think you've played all these as well. And I think that's kind of the ranking I would put them in, maybe swap those last two. So I would do Ra, Modern Art, Medici, then High Society, maybe. Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Why? What do you think?
Interesting. I was thinking Ra would be the last.
Really?
I really loved Medici.
Okay.
Then Modern Art, I played it like 15 years ago, but I remember that I was impressed by the game and the mechanism. But at that time, I didn't have the experience to compare with other games, I guess. And High Society, I've only played it twice in Essen, I remember, but it was really unexpectedly good. I remember that we were staring with Byron to one another and we're thinking, okay, this is a very good game. Why? How is this like a small box? And
well, actually, that's why I had originally picked it up, because of your recommendation from Essen, you and Byron, and I was highly disappointed in High Society. I finished the game and I was like, I guess that was a game. I mean, I guess we're done. Like, I felt nothing. I just went through the motions. Um, and that's an interesting part of it. So maybe it's the other things around auction games that make them a little more interesting. So high society in many ways is purely just mathematical, right? Trying to figure out the value of things. The others are like that too, but maybe there's enough around it that it takes away from the sterileness of it or the sterility. Like modern art has the auction, the actual auction that you're doing, and raw has the the chanting and the push your luck of when the raw tiles are coming out and all that. So maybe having those kind of makes the game better for me, because as somebody who's mathematically challenged, if a game is just math, I'm not interested. So let me tell you guys about this game. Just a quick thing. Essentially,
Yeah.
you have 4 rounds in the game. There's 5 artists in the game, and you're basically just going to play every round until the fifth art piece of every of the first author of the first sorry the fifth art piece of one of the artists has come out. Once that comes up for auction, that's the end of that round. And basically, everyone has a hand of cards, and they're getting more cards every round except the last. So they kind of have a strategy that they can build throughout. But essentially, of those cards that you have in your hands, you have 5 artists, which are 5 colors. In the game, though, which is really cool, they use 5 real artists. So that's really nice. I think that's one of the things they did that's really good. So you have five colors, and each one has a color, which is the artist, and a type of auction. There's 4 types of auctions in the game. Open auction, which is just where you open it up and people go $5 and 10, 12, 11, and then going once, going twice, and the winner wins. You can do a blind auction, which is where people just put a certain amount of money in their hand, and the person who bid the most wins it. There's a single bid where you go around clockwise from you, and everyone has one chance to make a bid. And there's a set price where you set a price tag and you offer it to everybody clockwise from you, and first person to take it gets it. There's also a double auction, which is where you have to take another card of the same color that has one of the previous 4 types of auctions that I mentioned, and then you're doing that kind of auction but for both cards. So that's how it works. And basically the point is to get the most money, because what happens is the value of the painting each round, it goes from basically which artist had the most paintings out, they get to be worth $30. Whoever had the second most is 20, whoever had the third most is 10, and then fourth and fifth are 0. And then in future rounds, it adds up to that. So like, let's say this was the most valuable in the first round, it was worth 30, but in the second round, it was the third most valuable, it's worth 10. So now that's worth 40 points because 30 plus 10. But if they're the fourth or the fifth, they're worth nothing. Because if it's 30, then 0, they're basically just not sold at all that round. So their old stuff doesn't count that round. So that's a basic idea of the game. And the couple things that I really liked, in the game, Cheng was there, like he was calculating everything. He was sort of figuring out like how many cards. I don't know if he was card counting or whatever it was. He was just being like, okay. He wasn't just thinking, okay, how much money can I make of this? He was also thinking, how much money am I giving you, which you can spend on other things based on your target. And somehow, Dima beat him by a few points. And Dima's thing was more like, I guess I'll buy it. That was your strategy. So we can call it a more abstract, perspective. And hers, she seemed to be spending the most money of anyone and somehow ended up with the most. And good for her. Great for her. She did a great job. But throughout, and I'm using her words, she kept saying, and afterwards, she kept saying, I don't really have a strategy. I don't really know what's going on. And maybe that's what makes me like this one more than the other ones, is the fact that it's not just simple, I mathed it out, I figured it out. Like, you also have to try to, if you want to figure it out, maybe figure out people's like intentions, their goals, sort of what they want to raise in value and drop in value. I don't know. I found it very interesting. And the other thing I really enjoyed was the auctioneering, which when fully embraced can be fantastic. So whenever I was doing an open auction, I'd be like, we're opening up this auction for this wonderful piece by, Carvalho. This was during his more abstract Cubist era. I'm just making shit up now. And then I'd be like, and we're opening up the bid at $1. Everybody, $1 going on. Okay, $1. We have $1 on the board. $5. $5. No, general. Oh, $15 across the board. $15. This one, his last painting went for more than 60. Oh, we have a bid of $25. $25. And I just, and we going around like that. Sold to the man in the hoodie, And I embraced it, and I thought that added some fun to the game. So those are my thoughts on the game. One, I suck at auctions because I suck at figuring out the math and the value of things. And I think for my valuation of what it makes an auction game good is, did it give me enough feeling of fun, one, and two, make me feel like I was getting somewhere despite the fact that I'm bad at math. And it did. It gave me something to do. It gave me lovely art to look at. It gave me fun, different types of auctions to do. It gave me the feeling of strategy because I had all these cards in my hand and I was like trying to plan when something would be more valuable. It gave me sort of a feeling that like my decisions mattered. And that's all I can ask for an auction game. And because if it's just a math, I know I'm going to lose. So this one, I was definitely going to lose, but at least I felt like I had a good time and my decisions mattered while I was playing it. So I recommend it. It's not like one of my favorite games or anything, but no auction game really ever could be. But modern art, it's a positive experience.
So what I still remember, and what I would like to add to your Dimas abstract strategy argument, is that the last time I played it, there were some adults, like friends of ours, and their children that were they were like 10 to 14 years old, and we all had fun. And
Exactly.
we didn't really had the problem that somebody was like 10 years old, and I mean, she could play the game and engage and have fun and be a valid opponent. And that was another thing that I liked about this game. I really remember having fun playing it.
Yeah. Well, other than the fact that you just called me the mental equivalent of a 10-year-old, I appreciate that because that's true. That's very true. It's a fun
I'm
game.
extending your argument that it can go far, like everybody can play it and and compete.
I mean, mathematically, I can't be better than a 10-year-old, so you're not particularly wrong on that regard, and not a very smart 10-year-old, like an average 10-year-old.
No, you're fine.
Listen, I tried to do time difference math to figure out when we were recording today, and I came out like 3 hours off. So,
that's a problem with the clock and the 12 and 24 hours. I mean, we don't use the tens. It should be like 20 hours or 10 hours the whole day, and then everybody would know it's 0 to 10, like everything else, right?
No. I disagree. Please don't change anything. I barely understand time as it is. If you change things, I'm going to get confused.
Anyways, I would like to go back and say what I played this last month, because except on Mars, I also played Libertalia twice in the last week. And I was very happy because it's a game that I have only played in Board Game Arena. And that was the first play that I played the physical copy. And it's fantastic. It was so good. People were engaged. It was so easy to teach and so fast to play. And I don't know. I'm not ready to make a review about Libertalia yet, but I was thinking about it.
I had the old version of that, and I remember everyone being extremely bored when we were playing it. But I don't know. Maybe they've made it better, or
there's
just the
we
wrong
played
group.
the new version. I'm not sure what's the difference between the new version and the old one.
Yeah.
But yes, we played that. We played also For Sale, which is another auction game, but it's older, and I feel what you mentioned about modern art, like it's a really better game. So let's not stay on that. And we played a very fancy game named Unsettled, which is a co-op game about being on a hostile planet and trying to survive. And it's like a campaign or something. I felt that the intentions were really good. The components are state of the art. It's a Kickstarter. But it was kind of a little bit too much for me. So I'm not sure I want to play it again and then have a review in this podcast. Anyway, we'll see. If somebody asks us to, maybe I will do it. What did you play other than
Nothing?
Modern
I told you I didn't play for a month and 20 days. But while my sister came to visit, while my dad was in the hospital, to pass the time, we did play a couple games of Pandemic, which she enjoyed a lot. And I'm about to say something.
Like the original Pandemic.
Yeah, I'm about to say something that's about to blow your mind. I realized this was the first time I've played base game Pandemic. I've played all sorts of versions of Pandemic, and I've played a whole campaign of Legacy, but I've never just played Pandemic. And it was good.
Which I think is the first month of the Legacy edition.
Okay, then yeah, obviously yeah, but I, that's a good point. I apologize, but yeah, but the actual just base game where you play it, you're done, you pack it up, and I liked it. I think the others added too much to it. You know what I mean? And I think that was where the problem is. Everyone else, I think, tended to like Pandemic more because they came in with a love for the base game, and then they were ready to love the new things. I didn't love the base game yet, and so I didn't love all the extra stuff. So then maybe that's why I didn't like it. But playing this, I understand why people like it. It's not for me now in my life as a board gamer. It's too simple, but like, it's a good game. Like I'm gonna keep it. Like I can see it getting played. I played Trickerion, which there'll be more about later. And we played Not Alone, which is always fun to get to the table.
Not Alone. Good memories. It's funny that in our acquisitions section, I have written 2 games that I'm not going to acquire, but my friends here in Doha will. So, so I'm hoping that I'm gonna play. And one is the Alice is Missing. I don't know if you know about this. It's a role play.
Yeah, I told you the story when we got when we were on our way to the cottage and we got a flat tire, and we were waiting for the because there was no flat tire in the car, extra tire in the car. We were waiting for the assistants to come, and while we were there, we decided to play Alice is Missing in the middle of the woods. And, it was dark, and we were gonna play it.
Oh, that was the game. I remember the story. I didn't remember the game.
Yeah, that was the game. So, yeah.
Okay, and the other thing that it's actually here, and I might play it when maybe next month, is Ahoy, which is a game from Leather Games, but not from Colwerle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's again asymmetric, and I was really interested. It's the same Mr. Ferrin's art, and so it looks like a Leather game. It looks like a Root and stuff like that, and Oath.
I did back something, which I haven't backed in a long time, but I backed Fled, a gripping game of gutsy escape. And there's nothing about this game I find interesting, other than the fact that it's Mark Swanson, the guy who did, what's it called? Feudum. And
oh my God!
So
really?
I don't really even know how the game is played. I know it's much simpler than Feudum, but I'm just assuming he will have something interesting in it because I trust him. So I backed it.
Is it like an escape game, like Burgle Bros or something?
No, kind of. You're escaping from prison, but yeah.
Oh, even better. I don't know why is it even better, but that's how it came.
All right.
Through my mind. Okay, so the other thing that I played, I think 3 or 4 times, is Daybreak. Daybreak, I think it's like a hot thing in Board Game Geek, is a cooperative game about climate action, as many games nowadays. Well, where you control a world power, which could be also the rest of the world. So it could be like United States, China, Europe, and the rest of the world, which is in the game is called majority of the world, and which is what I received when they asked me what country do I want to play, and I responded Sri Lanka, because when somebody is asking what country do you want to play, I was thinking that all of the countries are in the game, so why not Sri Lanka? So they gave me the majority of the world. It's a hand management engine building game where in every round you draw a number of cards and you add these cards in your tableau and you activate basically your engine. You only have 5 columns of cards where you can add new cards. So in a column you either start a new project, and by starting a new project means that you now activate the cards, or you add the card in the back and use it for its tags. So each card in the upper right corner has some tags, and these tags make your other actions more powerful. So you have this interesting puzzle every round where you think, okay, should I activate it or should I use it for the tag? And that tag stays there for the next round. So every round your actions become more and more powerful. And these actions are basically thematically, they are policies that are helping the world come clean. And other than that, you have the classic cooperative mechanism where there are crisis cards every round. And these crisis cards, depending on how much the temperature has risen, makes your life miserable. So it makes things horrible for the earth. What else is going on in this game? So each player has its own board. You have your own board in front of you, where you can see your population energy needs. So for the majority of the world, there's a huge energy need. For China, the same, and things like that. And you also see the emission you produce each round by traffic, industry, agriculture, energy sector, whatever. So each part of the world has different needs and different pollution, different emissions that makes them prone to different projects and vulnerable to different crises, which is amazing because it's kind of asymmetric. So I'm the majority of the world. I really have a lot of emissions, but I also have a huge population, so I can do more things if you help me Europe or if you help me United States. And this is where you understand that, okay, there's a design genius behind this, and it's Matt Leacock from Pandemic that you just mentioned. And the other guy the other designer, there's a pair of designers. It's Matt Leacock and Matteo Menapace, which is a game designer and educator. I googled about him because I was thinking, I don't know this guy. Who is this guy? So this guy is a former artist in residence at the Victory and Albert Museum in London. And he designs cooperative board games inspired by social issues, such as food politics, memory loss, and now the climate crisis, which I found fantastic that there is a guy that just does that. We had a lot of fun playing the game. It's 1 to 4 players. According to Board Game Geek, is best with 2. But we really had fun playing it 3 and 4 players. So this should give you a hint on whether I liked the game or not. There is a simultaneously play mechanism, so all of the players are playing their cards at the same time. So it really decreases the waiting time and the waste time, which is really boring in cooperative games, and most of the games basically. And I think it's now officially my favorite mechanism in new games. So if you remember Hit, Pedal to the Metal, where they have this, they solve this, oh, it's a racing game and we have 6 players, what do we do? No, we all play together our cards and we reveal it all together and let's move them. So it is a great tool to use in this kind of stuff. Now about the game, as I said, it was really fun trying to win the game, and it's also a great educational tool, which is a very strange thing for me to say, because I see all these games coming out about climate change, like CO2 and things like that, and never really hit me. But this one, it really gives you the idea behind the climate change, and at the same time, you understand that the energy consumption will continue to increase, because this is a mechanism in the game that every round you increase your energy consumption, no matter what, because your population increases, and there's no easy solutions. So it makes you feel that it's pretty obvious that without cooperation from the whole world, there's no chance we could win this challenge. And this is exactly the game. So they took this idea and they make it a game. I think the idea behind it is fantastic. And let me stop praising here. Let me find some negatives. I played, as I said, the game 4 times. It was really hard the first time to win. The second time was we almost win. The third time we won. And the fourth time we won easily. So I can see the replayability in this game. Although there is a deck of challenges that come into play if you want to make the game harder. But I'm not sure if I want just to make the game harder in order for me to play it again. That I feel it defeats the purpose. Maybe it's just me, I don't know. In a really positive note, the components are beautiful. It kind of is maybe my favorite graphic design. I mean, it's definitely in my top 5. There are beautiful cards. It's a beautiful board. We were discussing.
Now that's interesting to me. So because I was looking at it. I was thinking this all sounds great. Matt Leacock co-op, great theme, great educational value. You hit the nail on the head when you said, like, the reason that it's really hard to do this is because energy consumption goes up each year with increasing technology and increasing population. I love that. That's great. But I can see why you like this graphic design. I can't stand this graphic design. This one is the same reason I cannot get excited about playing Hegemony, because it looks like this. When something looks like an Apple product, like, I immediately, like, I can maybe I'll play it, but I don't really want to. It looks like an app or a digital product as opposed to sort of something handmade or hand drawn, and it pushes me away from it. But I understand people might like it. But the fact, because you mentioned it, I wanted to mention that it's one of the things that I like. Subjective opinion. You said you loved this graphic design style, and it's one of the reasons I don't want to play it. You know what I mean? Same as Pipeline. I've heard Pipeline's amazing, but it looks like that, and I'm not excited.
Which one? Sorry?
Pipeline?
Pipeline. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's. I think we should separate art and graphic design. Okay. Because I totally understand what you're saying when you're talking about art in this game. It's like an Apple product. Yes, you're right. It's like a thing you have seen many, many times, and it comes from a software or something like that. But for me, the graphic design is about helping you play the game and make everything clear. So let's say a great, I think, example of a great graphic design with a really interesting art is Food Chain Magnate. Where the art is really something that gives you the theme of the game. It's strange, but at the same time, for me, it's beautiful. But at the same time, the graphic design is amazing because it's clear what each card does and how you can use the board and the cards of the game.
But
so for me, the graphic design is amazing. I said also the beautiful cards and components, but yeah, so I guess you're right. I really like the art. But who am I to say?
no, I'm not saying you're not right. I'm saying it's highly subjective, and some people like this sort of clean aesthetic. For me, it feels like, again, I feel like I'm playing an app or a digital product. I like, like, I'm a very organized person. You know that. Like, I like everything to be neat and stuff. But at the same time, I'd rather a room look like, an adventurer's study where they have things from all over the world that are different colors and metals and stuff, as opposed to like the office of a CEO. Just because I like things to be neat and straight doesn't mean I don't like there to be texture. And so, but like when a design or a graphic design sort of sacrifices texture and depth for plain colors and like simple art style with patterns and stuff like that, I'm just not drawn in by it. This has nothing to do with the game, by the way. We're literally just arguing about this, but that's what I'm trying to explain. Like, I don't want it to feel like an app. I want to feel like it's a board game and not a video game. Like, that's important to me. But yeah, go ahead.
So let me say that we were discussing with my friends that how much a clear graphic design like this one could have helped terraforming Mars.
I don't think terraforming Mars is complicated, so I don't agree. But okay. And I don't think I don't think it needs help considering how much it has sold. Like, it's not.
Yes.
To me, it's not the best game ever, but clearly it's not a big issue. So
exactly. So again, who am I to say?
Well, if that's what you want, there's a game called Earth, right? Have you seen the game Earth?
No, but I want to see to watch a review about it.
If you look at the art style of that, it's basically what you're talking about. It's like terraforming Mars style, but with a clearer graphic design approach. And part of the reason I don't get it, or I don't want it, I'm happy to play it and try it and be proved wrong, is just the art doesn't appeal to me. Not because like there's some beautiful pictures of nature and stuff, but like the sterility of it. Like I like a bit of messiness, and I like a bit of like the humanity showing in things.
So it's like art made by AI.
Yeah, in a sense.
Oh, now we can say that.
But anyway,
you definitely can say that.
You definitely got my interest up in Daybreak. I'd be keen to try it. Same as Hegemony. The only thing keeping me from reaching out and buying them myself is it's not really a thing I want to own, but I'm excited to try Daybreak. I'm excited to try Hegemony, which I still haven't, by the way. We've planned it like 3 times, but it's every time something has come up. But I just, I want to play them and report back to you on my perspectives. But yeah, it sounds really intriguing, really engaging. And I like what you're saying about, the need continues to go up, right? Like that's a critical thing that we don't pay attention to in a lot of games and video games and stuff, which is populations grow, population density grows. Electronics, Go ahead.
It was kind of funny because at some point you get the idea that yes, we need to cooperate in order to save Earth. There's no other way. But at the same time, you're saying, Europe, you are making more energy than you need. Give me some. And the Europe guy is like, yeah, take some. and then you think, but that will never happen.
Yeah, that's true. So we can see how cooperation helps, but we can also see how cooperation is an impossibility.
Yeah. Or maybe the new generation will think something about it. Anyway, I'm still...
I'm sure that's what it is. Positive. I'm sure if we just leave the problem long enough, someone in the future will fix it. That's a good
Exactly. That always happens.
Oh, great. Well, thank you, Daybreak. That sounds interesting. Anything else you wanted to add on it?
Daybreak. It's kind of magic.
I see what you did there. Okay. Another kind of magic is the other game I played last weekend, which was Trickerion, Legends of Illusion. It's not a new game. It's an older game. We've talked about it in passing, but I was surprised to find out we've never reviewed it on the podcast, despite the fact that
Really?
between you, me, Byron, and Dima, we've played it a bunch of times. This is a game.
Elias, sorry, before you go, I want to mention, to shout out to our friend AK. AK 3 months ago texted me full of joy, and he said, "Oh, Trickerion arrived, let's play it." And I said, yes, let's play it. And he never mentioned it again. And every week I'm like, AK, when are we going to play Trickerion? And he's like, yeah, I'm not in the mood this week. AK, we need to play it. So AK, if you listen to this episode, see what happens now. Elias is going to...
Yeah, let's hope I can get him excited enough to play. It's one of the first Mind Clash games, I think the first, actually. It's by Richard Amann and Victor Peter. And the game is basically thematically, you're in the city of Magoria, which was once great under the leadership, because apparently the city is led by magicians, of the great Dalgard, the Magnificent or whatever. But since Dalgard's retirement, none of the magicians have risen to his power, but now Dalgard has reappeared, and he's let out that maybe his magic wasn't just genius of engineering and management and stage and theatrics. There might have been a little magical help to it, created by the Trickerion stone. And now he's gotten the best in all the various kinds of magic, illusions, escape artists, mechanicers, and there's one more, I'm sure. Hold on, let me think. and the other one, and basically,
the other one.
Whoever can become the most famous magician of Magoria will gain and inherit the Trickerion stone, giving them that little extra and lead Magoria into the great future of magical cities. In a weird sense, the theme is actually very similar to what's that movie? The Prestige, right? Where you're like figuring out tricks and trying to one up each other. But it gives
exactly, it was illusions.
Yeah, illusions, exactly. But it gives an exaggerated sense of importance to magicians. That's kind of why I feel like it's like in the Prestige, you're watching, you're like, wow, these magicians. And then you're like, magicians, have they ever been that important to society? Like, I don't know if they have. So, yeah.
But it's a fascinating...
yeah.
You know,
and it looks great.
Field.
It's all like, it looks like sort of, 1800s. You can feel the Industrial Revolution starting or being in the midst of it. It's interesting. The point of the game is it's worker placement, but you have different types of workers. So you all start with the same sort of, you start with you, the magician, and a helper. And then you can hire one of 3 different kinds of assistants, which is, it's you and an apprentice, and then you can have either an assistant, a engineer, or a mechanic, I think, and a manager. And each one's kind of different. And they give you a different sort of ability and a different starting benefit. And you can get all of them eventually, but you're sort of building up your own board and your own worker pool. Each type of worker has a different sort of value in terms of the number of actions they can do. 3 for you, 1 for the apprentice, and 2 for like one of your assistants or specialists rather.
Excuse me, but as a project manager, I want to say that you shouldn't be able to do anything without a manager.
Okay. Noted.
But that was not part. What does a manager do in this game? I don't remember that.
They manage your affairs. Anyway, so in the game itself...
it's a PR manager.
I believe... I'm trying to remember what they do. So you with the assistant, you get an extra apprentice, which is nice, and that you don't have to pay. With the mechanic, when you prepare a trick, rather than get 2, like the number of tricks on the card, you get 1 extra. Oh yeah, with the manager, you get an extra resource. So like if you only have like 2 sheets of metal, it's worth 3 with a manager. So that's how that goes. And yeah, and then you're playing action spaces, and the action spaces also have different actions on it, sort of bonus actions. So if I put a My Magician, which is 3 actions, onto a bonus space that's 2 actions, I could do 5 actions of that kind on that round. Um, so yeah, the main game is based on basically 4 different sections of the game, which is you have downtown area where you can go learn magic, you can hire new people, you learn tricks, hire new people, or get money. You can go to the market where you can buy resources or order resources that you might need in the future, or you can go to your own workshop where you can create tricks and prepare them. So take those resources and actually build up the things you need for the trick that you want to put on. And the last place you can go is like the theater. And in the theater, you can either go and prepare a trick, or you can put on a show, right? Which happens in its own phase eventually. So that's the basic idea of the game. I don't want to get too much more into the details. I love this game. It's my favorite Mind Clash game till now. I still think it's better for the ones I've played, which are Mind Clash, which are Trickerion, Anachrony Cerebria, and Perseverance episodes 1 and 2. I'm also very keen to try Voidfall, which hopefully I will soon, now that Mo has it, but that's where I'm at, and it's still the best one, I think. So let's get that one out of the way. It's fantastic, and I will always keep it. There's also the Dark Alley, which is a built-in sort of expansion you can add to the game, which adds more. We had 2 people who had never played, so we didn't include it, but next time we will for sure. I also have a mini expansion called Dalgard's Gifts, which adds a few extra things to the game, and there's a whole expansion called Dalgard's Academy, which you can get and add to the game. So here are the things I like about the game. The decision-making space is really great because the decision-making space is always challenging you on what you want to prioritize. Like, do you want to send a worker with less actions fast? Because then if you send them somewhere quickly, the bonus actions can make it worth it. So some actions some things might take 3 actions to do. But if I send an apprentice who has only 1 action, but I send them early enough, the bonus will give them 2 more actions. That's 3 actions. That's great. So I can do more things in different places. But it's also a little inefficient because I can't do more things with a single action. But I could send my big guy, my magician over there to get 3 + 3 actions in 1 turn. But then I potentially can't do anything or anything effective with the last person, who may be my apprentice. I find it very interesting. I find that sort of, when do I go? When do I start? Who do I send where? I find that to be really interesting. And that is the crux of the decisions you have to make in the game. You can always get out of things by paying Trickerion shards to gain bonus actions, but they're worth a point each at the end of the game. And like, if you play well, you can have a lot of them. Like Dima had 10 of them at the end of the game, and she was supposed to be last based on where she was, but she ended up being second because of how many Trickerion shards she'd collected. The other thing that's super interesting is when you're going to put on your show or prepare for a show, you're deciding whether to go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Friday and Saturday are equal in value, which means no benefit, no penalty. Sunday and Thursday are completely different. So if you go on Thursday, you can do more stuff. You have more time to prepare. But because you're putting on your show on Thursday, which is the worst day of the weekend, essentially, because people have work the next day,
not in Doha.
you don't get as much glory or fame or points for everything you do. But if you go on Sunday, you don't have as much time to prepare, but you get extra because that's the day everybody's off. So, but that's not the only interesting part. It's very interesting because at the end of the game, it came down to me to make the decision. Friday and Saturday were taken. I had to make the decision of Thursday or Sunday. And the difference between that choice was the difference between me winning the game or the other person winning the game. And he ended up finishing third because I made the right decision. And basically, if I went Thursday, I could put more tricks down. If I went Sunday, I could get more points from the fewer tricks. However, when I calculated it in my head, I was actually going to get exactly the same amount of points and the same amount of coins. So there was no difference in that regard. But what there was a difference on is when I looked at his board, he was able to create more tricks. He had sent a couple people to the workshop. So he would have been able to get way more tricks out if I let him go on Thursday. So I let him have more points so he could have less tricks out so that I could beat him. And that was very interesting because I would have ended up with the exact same number of points. But he would have ended up with more tricks out, scoring on other people's turn. And it was literally the difference between winning and losing. And I love decisions like that. So it's not just what you can get, but what are you taking away from your competitors, right? And it's a great game. It looks good. There's not much plastic in the game. And it really looks like, wood pieces and gorgeous little brown on brown, but with like cool little magician style art everywhere. And it feels thematic, and it helps give you that feeling of, a Victorian era magician. So, yeah.
Do you want to know what I remember from this game?
Sure.
I remember that it's one of the very few worker placement games where I feel the theme coming out. I believe it's the art that it's amazing, and as you said, it gives this 19th century era or whatever. And at the same time, there are also minor decisions from the designers, like what you said before about setting your show on a Friday or a Saturday, so instead of telling you, okay, take one box on this sequence from 1 to 7, they just give you the names of the days of the week, and you feel like, I'm gonna make a show this coming Sunday, and everybody will be there, but I don't have enough time, so I need to do this and that. I don't know. It's really an amazing game. I cannot say that I cannot understand why this worker placement game is better than the others, but it is.
No, I agree.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And I agree that
I cannot break it down.
I agree that thematically it's really there. And I was playing with a couple of guys who really like theme in their game, and they really seem to enjoy it. I do have a couple of negatives, which is that the trick linking scoring system is very non-intuitive. Like, I'm not going to go into it now because it would take half the episode to explain it, but basically who gets what. So like the person who's creating the link gets 1 gold and 1 point, but if there's a shard, both things that are connected to it get a Trickerion stone. But then when you run the trick, you score. The person whose color the trick is scores the trick, but then they only score not based on the day that it was performed, but the day that they're on the board. You know what I mean? Like it's very... yeah.
Wait, was this really part of the rules, or you made this up?
No, this is all true. Everything I said is true. But it's not intuitive. But my friend said that when you play a couple rounds of it, it makes perfect sense. So keep that in mind, that you can actually understand it before you get to the end of your first game, which is a great thing for something that's pretty complex. So like I said, still my favorite Mind Clash game, even though I believe it was the first. And a permanent keeper in my collection. Years go by between me playing it sometimes, but when it comes back, it's like going back to an old favorite. And for my first time ever, I won. So that was nice. So celebrations. I've always come in second.
Oh, congratulations.
I have never come in anything but second in this game until this time. So I'm excited to break that trend. So, yeah.
So the other thing I wanted to say about this game is that I'm very excited to play the Dark Alley. And when I saw in the episode notes that you're going to review this game, I was so excited because I thought you would have played the Dark Alley expansion, but you didn't. So now I have to play.
Yeah, I did have 2 new people, and they mentioned that they'd like to try the Dark Alley at the end of it. So I think with both Dima and myself wanting to try it, I think we can definitely set that up soon, and I can report back on it.
Have you read the rules of the Dark Alley?
Yeah, multiple times, because we planned on playing it multiple times. And then
How do you feel about it?
It seems fine. it seems to add a lot of complexity to the game. And
all right.
One of the great things about it is that despite the tricky scoring system, everything else is actually very elegant. So I'm hoping it doesn't take away from the elegance, but at the same time, I'd like to try it, see the increased depth, and see if it's worth the extra complexity. I'll keep my mind open and go from there. Ippo, I wanna show you this trick that I learned. You see this hat over here?
Yes.
All right. Abracadabra! It's the Ippokratic Corner.
What? Oh my God, that was an amazing trick.
Ippokratic Corner.
Guys, we need to do a video about this because you cannot see the illusion that Elias provided.
I worked very hard on it.
Okay, so welcome to this Ippokratic Corner. There's another top 5. It's not a big deal, but before doing that, I just wanted to mention that Hegemony, the game that we mentioned together, basically Elias mentioned before, is now on ranking number 87 in Board Game Geek. I'm so excited and happy about all of this praise that I have given to this little piece of gem that helps go up. But back to our top 5s. This episode's top 5 topic is top 5 games that need a new edition, which is a thing that we have discussed so many times. And we needed to make a top 5 about this because we're complaining. I'm complaining. I don't know. How do you feel? I feel like I'm complaining a lot about, this game needs a new edition.
It's interesting because I get mad sometimes at the amount of revised editions there. Like sometimes I feel like we have the old edition. It's fine. It doesn't need a new edition. And I was actually, I was having a conversation with someone about Rococo, and they were talking about how great Rococo is. And I was like, I agree. It's fantastic. And they were planning on having like an online game night. And they were like, oh, there's Rococo on Board Game Arena, but it's the old ugly edition. And I was like, excuse me, first of all, I have the old ugly edition and I'm very proud of it. Okay. And ugly? Let's calm down. Just because it doesn't have Ian O'Toole art doesn't make it ugly. And nowadays it's like everything has to have Ian O'Toole art. And I don't know if you know this about me, but I hate when everything comes out the same. And it genuinely feels like that these days. It's like everything has to look the fucking same. And like, you know what? I like my old edition of Rococo. I'm not going to get the new edition. I think my old edition looks lovely. And you can go fuck right off if you don't think so. Anyway.
Good for you, Elias, and good for all these old people that have the old edition of games out there. Shout out to old people.
Shout out to old people. Oh, man.
So even if I was complaining, I was a hard time finding 5 games that need a new edition. Do you believe that?
No, because I do find it hard. I had like 20. I had to cut it down. So
really?
Yeah, I did not have a problem.
So I'm really complaining less, I guess.
I guess you're a person who has something really, nothing bad really happens to them, but you complain a lot. Whereas like the rest of us, we notice something much more, but we don't complain about it as much as you. Maybe you should reflect on yourself, Ippo, about your level of resiliency in the world.
That's true. And also, I believe we're going to have 2 crossovers, I think, in this top 5. I think we're going to agree on 2
No
games.
way more than 1.
All right, interesting.
Wait, no,
that's very
okay.
interesting, actually.
Potentially 2, but I think one of them, I thought of it, and I'm going to make the call right now that you think that Glory to Rome should be on both our versions, but it's not on mine. Oh, wow.
No,
okay. All right. Okay.
It's not in mine. No,
Then
I like the new version.
Okay. All right. Then there isn't a new. Oh, you mean the black box? Yeah, but it's not. It's not available. So anyway,
Okay, but I won't
Yeah.
ask for a new edition.
I think we'll have
Just,
to.
that's just republishing.
Yeah. So what was your criteria, basically?
So I was trying to come up with criteria and I failed. So what my idea was basically top 5 games that I cannot introduce to new players because of their ugliness or, or unfriendliness to these new gamers. Ranked on how desperate we are for a new edition.
I wrote the same but less mean. I said needing revised art and components factored in, but the most important was if it needed a slight revision to the rules, with it still being the same game. And I ranked by how much change was required in the new edition.
Wow! Oh, nice. Okay.
I have an honorable mention. Do you?
No, I don't.
Wow!
For the first time.
What a day!
First time in
My honorable mention is to Ippo for not having an honorable mention. What a good day for you. No, my honorable mention is Container. And the reason it's an honorable mention is because I don't want any changes in it. It's perfect. I just want to buy it. Please. I'm dying. I'm physically dying. If you don't reprint this game, I'm going to die. I think I'm going to die. Like, I don't think I'm going to make it if I don't get another version of this game. I'm dying. But
that's a different thing. You want a reprint.
Yes, which is why it's not in the top 5. It's a honorable mention. If you're listening, you can help save a life if you just reprint this game.
Can we print and play the game?
No.
I mean,
no.
I don't think the components are really...
They matter.
All right. Okay. I have to trust you on that. I have never played the game. You know something? Because I don't have an honorable mention, I'm going to go first.
Wow.
And I'm going to say that it was very hard for me to find the number 5 of this top 5. And it is the game from 2014, Wir sind das Volk.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a game I really like. It's have a very special theme where one of the players is the East Germany and the other is the West Germany. And we compete against resources and victory points. And it's published by Histogame.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that the graphic design really pulls people away. Maybe together with the German title of the game. I'm not sure about that. You might... What do you think about it? Because
for me, it was one of the things
in an English-speaking country.
It was one of the things that made me buy it. I liked that it was yeah.
You're the weirdo. Yeah. Okay, but do you think it needs a new edition?
No.
You like it as it is?
I think it's good. I think the components are good. The graphic design is good. The art is good. I think it needs more publicity. Not a new edition. I think more people need to know about it. But I think it's a rather good game. I don't have it anymore. I didn't love it as much as you. But it was certainly very interesting, and I enjoyed my times playing it with you. So, but I don't think at all. I think it looks quite good. Like I really don't think it needs a new edition.
I think the graphic design was bad. It was really confusing for me. I mean, it was one of the few times that I had to check again and again what this symbol means or something like that. So that's my number 5, Wir sind das Volk.
Interesting. That's not on my list. So my number 5, I think would be one of the 2 that are on our list combined, is Antiquity from Splotter Games, originally published in 2004. And here's the main issue. There was another version in 2017 that didn't address any of the issues with the game. Like, it just changed the box, right? So I have the original first edition, which is a big-ass blue box. They just put it in like a smaller box or like something, and then didn't address any of the problems with the actual game. There's 2 major problems. One, The components, the tiles are too fiddly and small. They're too tiny, and you physically cannot pick them up with fingers. It's an issue. And the other problem is...
It's funny because it's true.
Yeah, and the other problem is it's a little too fiddly. It's a little too like, okay, did everyone do this for themselves this turn? I think it could use maybe like a slight revision of the rule to make it a tiny bit like less. Well, I have to check every building and every farm and every mine and every fishery, and like just like maybe like a little track to show you like how many resources you're expected to take every turn, so you can easily just count to that and figure that out. But small things. It's one of my top 3 games ever. I'm not complaining about the game. I adore it and I love it, but it could use a revised edition, and I would buy it because I'd like to play it more, and I think the fiddliness dissuades people from playing it more often. So Antiquity, Splatterspellen, number 5.
Okay, I want to add to what you said that yes, all these games that we're gonna mention are great games, and I guess this is the reason we want.
That's not true. That's not true.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So at least my top 5 is all games that I love, and my number 4 is Pax Renaissance, which is a game from it's a really recent game. It's from 2016. It's in a little box. And we have made a review about this. If you wanna,
you mean the game where there was a revision that came out in 2021 in a bigger box? It already has a revised edition.
All right. Okay. So my wish come true today. Oh, what are you, a magician? So we have made a review on episode 19, and okay, you should tell me if they address any of the.
Go for it.
Of the problems that I mentioned here, which is the rule book was really, really bad, I felt.
I have no idea.
Okay, because that's my main thing. That I felt that the rule book was really bad and small because the box was small. I don't know if now that they made a bigger box, maybe they could make a better rule book. The graphics were okay. The art was by Phil Lackland, so it's not the best, but it's actually his best effort to do art compared to his other games. We're talking about a game that we have reviewed in episode 19, so if our listeners want to go back and check that episode. And we're talking about the Sierra Madre game with a complexity of 4.46.
Deservedly.
So it's a really complicated...
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a really complicated game, which is an excellent game, and it deserves a better rulebook. That's all
That's a good thing. Yeah, I agree with you, by the way. There's nothing I would revise in the gameplay, but I would just throw the rulebook in the garbage and write a new one, I think. Good pick. It's not on my list, but honestly, now that you say that, maybe it should have been. So, great choice. My number 4, I don't know if you remember this game or if you've played it. It's called Saint Malo from 2012. And it's a roll and write game that had you were building your island fort on Saint Malo, and things were happening to the world. It's a roll and write game, but it had a little glossy board with markers on it. It is an excellent game. Until now, for me, the best roll and write that I've played. I've played Welcome to, I've played the Railroad Inc. I've played everything that's supposed to be really good. And St. Malo is better than all of them and older than all of them. And for some reason, nobody knows what it is. But it's really good. And what I would like is just a little updating to be with everything we've learned from the recent sort of new roll and writes that come out, maybe sheets of paper instead of a glossy board. Just a little bit of because it was a little annoying, sort of you'd have to draw actual shapes, and a lot of people can't draw. So I think maybe they could update what you have to mark or what you have to draw, just make it a little easier to mark up, and maybe switch to paper instead of using the glossy boards with the markers. But just a few small things like that, tweaking what you're physically doing and tweaking the physical components. I would love a new edition, and I'd buy it right away. So St. Malo.
Saint Malo, yeah, I remember it was an excellent game. And now that I think about, do you think it's the same genre with Era Medieval Age? It's
Maybe. I mean, it's a roll and write though. It's a city
yeah.
building,
So
and yeah, so it's a city building, but it's also a roll and write. So it's both of those things.
yeah. So, but I was thinking that Era Medieval Age solved the problem of just drawing by using components that can stack in a board.
I don't think I'd like. I think one of the nice things about St. Malo is the roll and write aspect of it. I think the simplicity of you having your own board and marking the resources and stuff like that. That's great. Um,
And the freedom that gives you.
yeah, like I don't like the idea of it being the best roll and write game, and my solution is make it not a roll and write game. I don't think that's good. I just think it
Okay.
could use some modernization, and that's really it. So but I think it's excellent. I think more people should buy it if it's available, which it never is. So let's get a new version that's available with modern components, and let's all go buy it. Saint Malo, really good.
Okay, another excellent game. So I'm curious to see what game is not excellent in your top 5. I'm going on to my number 3, which is a Martin Wallace game. I don't know if you can guess which one is. It's from 2009, economic game, and it's Automobile. Yeah, because it's really ugly. Nobody likes it, and you have this problem with the fiddliness of paper money, and I believe these are the only 2 reasons that make this game don't hit the table. Doesn't come out easily because people see the box and they say, "What the fuck is this?" And then when they played it, they remember, okay, we had fun, but we need to count so many times in this game and exchange paper money that it really wastes like 50% of the playing time. Otherwise, it's an excellent Martin Wallace, tight economic game, one of these. So I really want to see a new edition, maybe with a tweak on some rules to resolve these problems.
It's a very good game, and you're right. I never want to play that copy again. It's just so horrifically ugly, and it's not just ugly; it's boring looking. Like when I look at it,
it's not ugly, it's boring. Yeah,
I just can't get excited to play it. But when I played it, I remember having fun the couple times we played it. I just never really am in the mood for it. If anything else is on offer, I'd rather play that. So there you go.
So if you're a robot like me, you would love Automobile. That's why I love it.
A robot from the 80s, of course. My number 3 is, I think, the other crossover. If we do have 2, we have none so far. So, and that is Archipelago, which was released in 2012. And let me be honest with you, it's the best semi-co-op with a trader game I've ever played. It's fun. There's like a great sort of market economy that occurs. You can actually feel like you're growing and expanding with the evolution cards. And there's a silliness to it because of the traitor aspect to it. The problem is the theme is so problematic. The theme of colonization and suppressing the people's, like the islanders, like that's what you have to do, right? Like you have to suppress their self-determination, and you have to suppress, their ability to fight for what they're entitled to. It's a problem. Colonization in general, but this is like colonization, but also boots on the ground suppression. Hey, well done. I think it needs a retheme that addresses the problematic elements, because the game itself is really good. They don't need to change the art if they're keeping the same sort of theme, but like just address that in a better way. Maybe change it from being sort of colonization to a more market related game. I don't know the solution to this. Don't make it colonization in space. That's not any better. Just what I'm trying to say. We also don't want to oppress the Martians. Okay, so every time I want to play it, everyone's like, "Oh, it's so good." Pity about the theme. And so it comes out way less than it should.
Oh.
And I can understand why. So, like, ultimately, it just kind of needs a retheme addressing these problematic issues. But as a semi-co-op game with a trader, it's still the best one I've tried. So I'd love to get a new edition on that one. So number 3, Archipelago.
That is very interesting. That's not a crossover in my top 5.
Oh,
It's a
wow.
game that I kind of don't remember. I really didn't remember that there is a traitor in this game. Maybe I have only played it once, and I checked now in BGG, and I have rated it 4.6, which is really harsh. I mean, I guess I really hated the game.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, you tend
really
to
don't
rate games low when you're bad at them, so that's probably what happened.
Oh, that's why most of my games are less than 5, I guess. Anyway, so in my top 2, let's go to number 2. It's our first crossover. It's Antiquity.
It's our only crossover for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to add that it's for the listeners that they don't know the game, that it's a 3-hour game with 4.32 complexity. It's a genius game about medieval farmers. It's a deterministic, and for me it should be taught in game design classes. It's brilliant. That's all I wanted to add about Antiquity. That was my number 2.
Same reasons as me, that it needs a new edition.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And I didn't know that that there is a new smaller box. To be honest, I thought that the box. How big? How can we describe how big was the box that you have? Like the first edition, it's like
I'm trying to think.
Half of a bed.
Sure, half of a bed. Why not?
I mean, or like 2 chairs. Like I really don't know how to describe how big this thing is. Like, you have never seen such a big box, and I mean length and width, not height.
Not depth. That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like 2 or 3 by 2 Calex units. That's the size.
Look, that's a very good description. Yeah.
All right. Well, my number 2 is a game. So now we're getting to the part where I want new editions with revised rules. Like, till now, they've been mostly component stuff. These next 2, this is why I said not all my games are good, but they had something in there that I wanted from them that they didn't give to me. So that's why I want a new edition, and I hope I get that with the thing I want. My number 2 is Fortune and Glory, kid. Fortune and Glory. From 2011, from Flying Frog. I can't remember the name of the company. Flying Frog Games. It is the best pulp theme implementation ever. Like, everything you want from a pulp genre, Indiana Jones, The Mummy, whatever it is, fighting Nazis or secret societies, the Red Hand or whatever. It has everything you want in there. It has cliffhangers. It has amazing things. It has fighting a gang of not a Gestapo unit in like the Himalayas for some reason. It has everything you want, but it's a dice fest, and it's a dice fest with massive range, in the sense that you can absolutely have a turn where you roll a dice, only bad things happen to you, nothing occurs, and then it's not your turn anymore for 40 minutes. So that's kind of the problem with it, is either, I know they want luck in there, and luck has to be a part of like this kind of theme, and that's fine, but if they could like reduce the level of sort of range so that it's not really possible to have a completely useless turn, so you feel like for the last hour and a half you've done nothing, I would absolutely pick up a copy. And so yeah, I think Fortune and Glory, because I love the theme implementation so much, I'd love, and even the shitty art of like pictures of their friends. So apparently this company famously, they just take their friends, they go to the costume shop, they buy everything, and they just take all the pictures and use that as, and it's perfect for a pulp game. It's great. It's so good. It's excellent theme. It's just, and even the gameplay could be fun if it wasn't for the fact that it's infuriating at times. So if it could just like reduce that randomness range and just make it not possible to be completely wasteful, I'd love a new edition of Fortune and Glory.
So I think that this game is an experience and you want to make it a game.
Yeah, maybe.
So
that's a good description of it. Yeah.
And there are so many expansions about this game, like the Cliffhanger expansion, the Rise of the Crimson Hand, that I'm reading now, like from 2011, 13, 2019, 2020 expansions. Just to add to the theme, I guess, because people are getting it for the theme, I'm gonna guess.
Correct, yes.
But I understand what you're saying. I mean, I remember that it's for me it was a one-time thing.
Yeah.
So you experience it and you don't want to play the game. No, it's not a game, and you want to make it like a good game. Why not?
Exactly.
Okay.
But I'm okay with randomness, just as long as it's not quite so like to the point where you can literally accomplish nothing for a couple hours because you rolled badly twice. Like it's rough. So yeah, there we go.
Okay.
Fortune and Glory, kid.
So my number one is, and it should have been yours too, and shame on you. It's Pax Porfiriana, which is
I don't agree
the game
at all.
I want the most to have a new edition. I have already posted threads in Board Game Geek in the Pax Porfiriana's forum saying that, okay, we need a new edition of this. When is it coming out? For people that don't really know the game, it's about what is it about? The history of Mexico Revolution, something. Porfirio Diaz. And
It's
stuff like that.
So it's about Porfirio Diaz. It's about the era of Porfirio Diaz being the leader in Mexico, and you're playing sort of varying perspectives and factions within it, and you're sort of trying to become the inherited government after Porfirio Diaz. So you want basically to, whatever you set up to be the new sort of government, you want that to become the new government after their Porfirio. So yeah.
And it has this beautiful mechanism where you win depending on the situation in Mexico and the political environment, which was copied, I believe, by Cole Werle in the Pax Pamir game.
The whole Pax series is based on this.
And yeah, so for so many people that are familiar now with Pax Pamir, it's something like that. It's an amazing game, and I hate the art. It's like Microsoft. What is it called? Not Microsoft Word Art. Word art. Yes, it's like word art from the 90s that Phil Lackland used to make the cards. And every time I look at the card, my eyes burn, and I need to go to the ophthalmologist the next day. So a new edition is really needed. And I know that I don't really make my case now to Phil Lackland, but please do something. It's an amazing game. It's also not available. So even if you want the old edition, you cannot find it. So that's another reason. It's the game that I'm most desperate about having a new edition. Pax Porfiriana.
I like the game fine as is. I think the art style feels like a bunch of like ranch herders made it and out west by themselves. Like and that fits the theme.
Sorry. I think calling it an art style is an overstatement.
I think you're a little harsh. I think you're being a little harsh.
Each card has a different style.
It's not pretty, but I'm happy to play it and I like it. And at the very least, it's clear to me. When I look at it, I can understand sort of everything I need. But hey, some of us are more shallow than others. It's okay. It's fine.
Exactly.
It didn't even occur to me, by the way. So, it was never going to be
way.
my number one. Yeah. So, my number one, this game needs the most changes to the point that, like, it might as well need a new game. All right, so let me tell let me tell you about this. The game is called The Banner Saga Warbands. It came out in 2016. It was a Kickstarter, and it has, to me, some of the most beautiful art and miniatures and components I've ever seen. But what it needs is a playable game attached to it. So what they need to do, the rulebook isn't even correct. Like, you can't learn the game from the rulebook. It's not possible. It's like they changed the rules and then they didn't update the rulebook after they changed the rules. So the only way to learn is to watch their videos, and they're terrible too. So like, you got to take the rulebook and you got to burn it. Burn it into, I don't know, whatever, the hottest fire you can imagine, so that not even the residue or the ash survives. Okay. Then you need to take all the components and the art, and then design a new game from scratch. Okay. Design a new game using the same components and art, and then sell it to me and I'll buy it. Because
Wow.
the components are great. The art's great. The theme is great because I love the Banner Saga, the video game. But the game, it's just, it has a central concept that's great, which is that you are part of this refugee, like, war band, sort of running away, being chased out by some sort of darkness, which is as yet unclear. And each of you, up to 4 players, has a specific role within the group. You're the Jarl, you're the quartermaster, you're the, whatever it is. And it's great because then decisions come up, and those decisions have to be answered by 2 members of the party. And those 2 are arguing because the different solutions will affect what they're trying to accomplish, like having enough food or having enough troops, So they're arguing and trying to make the decision. And ultimately, that's the brilliant thing, is it gives you something to care about specifically, not just do we win or do we lose. It's like, I care about making sure as a quartermaster that we're all fed, right? But that might not be important to you as the Jarl. You care more about loyalty and troops. So we're arguing about that, and it gives you a reason to care. And I love that. The decisions you get and the care that you have based on your role. But beyond that, it's just trash. And like, they took a really clever combat system from the video games and made it, I don't even know what it is. It's just bad. And I just wish there was a cleverer combat system and a little more intelligence put into the actual events that you get. And I think if they do that, if they revamp the combat system and they just make the choices you make matter more, keeping that central system and that art and those components would be a great game, and people would really like it. So I want a second edition of the Banner Saga by a different publisher. That's what I want.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, even the people in Board Game Geek, they say that it's a great game with a rubbish rulebook.
There you go.
So most people, I guess, agree.
I guess so.
And another guy says, never ever buy a game from that company. I don't. So I don't, like, as you say, there are mixed criticism in this game.
Well, like I said, it needs a different publisher if they're going to make a second edition. So,
but I think the publisher is also the designer, so it's hard.
They can bring in a second designer, give the first designer credits and royalties, and then they take over. I think that's what it needs.
Let's give it to a random designer. It's gonna end up better.
Maybe. Honestly, it's there's real problems with it, but it's still in my collection for reasons I can't explain. So that's why I'm in a second edition.
Okay, so I guess that tells us all the story behind it. For our listeners, don't forget to let us know what your top 5 games that need a new edition are at our Board Game Geek Guild or Instagram account or YouTube now. And you can find the link to the episode description.
You can find the link in our episode description. Not to the episode description.
Oh, did I
It's
say
okay. It's only episode 46. You'll get it.
If you wanna go, if you go to the episode description, you can find the link.
That's right.
So it's kind of same.
Same. Okay. Same, but different. Well, that brings us to the end of this tabletop session. Thank you so much for listening. Make sure to follow us on Instagram or YouTube at Tabletop Sessions. Join the conversation, share a fun story of board game shenaniganism, and let us know what your top 5 was this month over at one of those things, our Board Game Geek Guild, our Instagram, or our YouTube. Find us in all those places. You can find the link to all of these in the episode description. We'll be back in a month. And until then, to quote one of my favorite writers, God damn it, you've got to be kind. Say bye, Bo.
Tabletop.
Congratulations to all listeners that reached to this point and this is the end of the episode. So goodbye, guys.
Congratulations.
Tabletop. Session.
We now need to congratulate people for listening to the whole episode. Because it's a really long episode.
It's gotten
right?
out of control.